Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Chris, and welcome back to the Big Brother Podcast. It is the official episode 1, and I am with my good friend, Gocubs711. How you doing, Gocubs?
I'm doing good. Hey, Chris, guess what I did?
What do you do?
I wrote us a theme song. Do you want to hear it?
Oh my god. Sure.
Alright, here it goes.
Okay. Was one of that like? Did you? It was like Maniac and Go Cubs. It was that last part dick stuff.
Predict stuff.
Oh, predict stuff. I was just now you're turning into Danny Sexton. Oh my god. God damn it. Wow. That you know what? Send me that file. I'll use it.
Okay. I don't know if that was just a one-time thing.
You must send it to me now. Now it's okay. It will become a solidified part of the podcast.
I can make it better. It'll take me like 15 minutes.
You do whatever you want to do. I'm just saying I approve. Alright. Well, guys, it was one of the most eventful weeks I've ever seen on Big Brother ever in terms of like the beginning. And it was absolutely insane. And I'm glad that my opinion changed from me hating this season to loving the season within like a 24-hour time span. And I absolutely adore it. How are you liking the season thus far, Go Cubs?
I'm liking it. These are some interesting
People.
characters.
Interesting people.
Yeah.
So I guess we could start out with talking about the twists that were announced during the premiere episode. So the first twist that they announced was a returning one that they dubbed fan favorite, and it was Battle of the Block from Big Brother 16. A lot of people were like, "That was a fan favorite." When they heard it, because no one really loved that twist. Like, in fact, a lot of people hated it. I wouldn't say that I hated it, but I kind of did not. I did not want it to come back because I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm over it. I'm done. It happened one season.
I liked him for the season, but once is enough.
Yeah, but I think that the way that it worked out, that it's going to end up working out is that the head of households are going to end up working together all the time, and then one side's going to end up throwing it, and it's not. It just ends up like not working out. It ends up just being this twist that happens, and it literally doesn't affect anything. It sucks, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But so that's the one twist that I was not really happy about returning.
No.
But then they announced the BB takeover twist, which we kind of discussed on the last episode, and a little bit more of an understanding now. So there's going to be a special guest each week that comes in, and they're going to announce some sort of twist to enter the game. So for the first week, it was Phil Keegan. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think.
Yeah, I think it's Phil Corgan.
Amazing Race guy.
Yeah, so he's the host of The Amazing Race, and he announced 2 twists that are entering the game. We'll talk about the second one later. But the first twist of the BB Takeover was that he released 2 Amazing Race contestants into the game. I edited in at the end of the last podcast my explanation about the 2 other contestants from The Amazing Race. I didn't watch last season, so I have no idea who they are. Go Cubs doesn't watch The Amazing Race.
Watched The Amazing Race since like season 5.
Yeah, Amazing Race is kind of like one of those shows that people are like, "Oh my god, it's so great," and yet sometimes I turn it on, I'm just like, "This is not fun."
No.
It's not fun to watch, but I don't know. It's interesting nonetheless. But they released these two contestants. Jeff seems like he's playing the game, but Jackie does not. Like the entire week, Jackie's just kind of there. She exists. Boobs, as they put it, they put it yesterday.
Yes.
On Thursday. So that's her purpose. But Jeff seems like he's more involved in the alliances. So it does seem like they're kind of seem like they're separated, but I think seemingly they actually are working together. So I don't know. It's interesting
Yeah.
nonetheless. Um, and then the third twist that was announced was the twin twist, which was something back from Big Brother 5. And it was announced that Liz was the twin. uh, Liz and her sister Julia have been swapping in and out of the Big Brother house, and I don't know. I really like that twist.
Yeah, I was a bit iffy about it at first because it kind of like felt uh, sort of catering to one contestant. But if you think about it, it's actually a lot harder
Yeah,
because you're not constantly there.
exactly. You have like this a short amount of time, like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I forget what they said yesterday.
One
The,
of them.
yeah, yeah. Well, they both had to explain to each, or the one person would have to explain what happened to into the house before the other one goes back into the house.
Uh,
So, and we saw a few times while watching the episode how it was very awkward going back into the city. I was just like, yeah, I was just in the dining room. They're grilling me, and she was trying so hard not to talk game talk because she
I
has
know.
no idea who everyone is. So, I felt really bad, but it's gonna be definitely a twist to watch, and hopefully I'm hoping that they don't get evicted prior to week 5.
I want to see them get there.
Yeah, because it has happened before. They both have been in the house before, but I'm hoping that happens again this time. So we're gonna kind of walk through each of the episodes. We're not gonna go too in detail like we do with Survivor because there's so many episodes that happen over the course of the week. But the first, yeah, well, the first alliance that's what are you saying?
Still a lot.
Yeah, it's still a lot. It's like we had to keep track of not like 180 minutes worth of footage, and then plus I watched the live feed, so
Yeah.
it's a lot. The first alliance that's created, seemingly, according to the first episode, was Audrey, Devon, and Shelly. And these guys want they want the girls to win the game. They want the girls to have the power, and like it ends up like later on, and Devon just ends up like not trusting Shelly because she's just like falling in love with Clay and all that kind of stuff. So that alliance just kind of never works.
I'm not sure how I feel about Devon.
I don't know either. Like I think she's a lot of fun to watch, but I don't know if like I want to necessarily root for her yet.
Yeah.
Like I think that I'm hoping that she goes for a little bit longer than like a few weeks. I really want to see how her game is like instead of just blowing people up.
Right.
So, we'll talk about a fight that happened with Devon later. So the first two head of households that were made were James of the first group, and then Jason of the second group. So James, who's Gocubs' pick to win,
Yes.
got the first head of household, and Jason, who is just I don't know, I like him. He's fun.
Jason's cool.
And he got the second head of household, and so and I love the head of household competition this time because
Yes.
the first one was I've seen it before because it was like the one
They've definitely done it before.
like when you throw the ball they have to catch it and put it into the slot. They've done that before. The second one, Go Cubs, you really liked, right?
Oh, that's one of my favorite challenges that I think I've ever seen. Just because what's it called?
What?
Just because it was so unique. You just hadn't seen it before, and it's sort of a variation on a common challenge where you have to endure, but it's not enduring while not trying to fall. It's enduring while trying not to be tugged up to this
Yeah.
thing.
I was curious as how they got the goo on the people when they fell back down. I'm assuming they had some sort of mechanical thing that was happening there.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a very interesting
Aliens.
theme challenge. Yeah, yeah, it was aliens. It was any mechanics. It was clearly aliens. But and now we have to put up the meme aliens. I really like that challenge. I liked how the two challenges, like last year when they did the two have household challenges, they were kind of related, but they weren't really. This year when they did the two Have House competitions, they were related. Like one was them at the movie premiere, and then the second one was them inside the movie.
That was really creative, I thought.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the most creative head of household that I've ever seen, because there's some head of households that are like, you're gonna hold on to this giant hot dog and then it gets squirted with mustard and ketchup. All right, thanks, big brother. Like but not really a lot of creativity. But I like this one. That was a really good head of household competition. So a good interesting note was that Devon and Vanessa were the ones that decided to not play in the head of household, and Phil came in as part of the BB takeover, and he said that they would have an advantage. He didn't say it at first, but then later on we found out that Devon and Vanessa were going to be safe for the week, and like to bring back like the fast forward that happens in the Amazing Race, where they automatically get to go and finish up the leg. So, and they're like, you guys get to bring partners with you to get this safety as well. So, after talking with people, Devon chose Liz, which it was really dumb, I felt.
Right.
And
especially like with the alliance that she was in, no one was going to know that she was aligned with them.
Right, especially if all of them if like every single person talked to Devon and she just randomly picked like Shelly or Audrey, people would be like, all right.
Yeah.
Even if it was a little bit of a threat, they can't do anything about it because they got safety. So, I don't know. She picked Liz for whatever reason, and Vanessa chose Austin for whatever reason. So that's interesting nonetheless. And so with these two head of households, James and Jason, they are kind of trying to work together, and then you get Audrey and Clay up there. And I think Meg as well. And they have a plan to backdoor Jace this week. They don't want him to go up.
Hate it.
But yeah, I never liked Jace. Or like I wanted to, but he was dumb.
No, I said hate. Like.
Oh, Hayden, right? Because Jace is Hayden. But yeah, I just really don't really love Jace, and I'm glad that they started to do this plan to backdoor him, because he would have been tough in competitions. So James goes and talks to Steve and Jackie to try to get them to be pawns. Jackie's okay with this idea, but Steve is not. He knows that the pawn has the chance of going home, or in the past the pawn has gone home.
Right.
So that's not really fun.
Smart cookie.
Smart cookie, Steve. Steve is a favorite of mine and of Gocubs.
Yes.
And again, well, that's something we'll mention later. But poor Steve has to go up. Will have to go up on the block because James wants him to. And then Jason also is trying to get two pawns up there. He's gonna pick Becky and John because again they're not really aligned with anyone, and it's just the easy people to put up, so that way they could enact plan backdoor Jace.
Yep.
So then we get to the so then the nominees end up being Steve and Jackie, and under James's head of household, and Jason nominates Becky and John.
Yep.
So now we get to the battle of the block, and it is a construction-like thing where they have to build this giant tower, but also they have to balance, like they have to get through like a little bit of an obstacle course in order to get to their base in order to build the tower, and
jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
God fucking damn it. This is not the time. God damn it. So now that we're done making 9/11 jokes, I can still hear you laughing. I think what ends up happening is that like Steve is having a lot of trouble going back and forth, so then he just becomes the rat running around like on his four legs, just crawling his way through the challenge, and Jackie's doing her thing, being boobs. And Becky and John.
That way, Chris.
Hey, listen, they said it first.
I know.
And then Becky and John ended up just tearing ass in this challenge, and they end up winning the whole thing and dethroning the Jason. So James is now the sole head of household.
I picked well. I didn't pick him for my head of household prediction, but he is my pick to win at the moment.
Right now, yeah. I like James. I liked him a lot. I'm liking him a lot more than I thought he was going to be. Oh, God, phone. Okay. Anyways, so now Jason's overthrown, and now James is in charge of the whole house. So now Jason and Austin are now Shelltown. Oh my God. They're an interesting bunch. James... I'm trying to remember some of the bro codes.
Oh my God, the bro code.
Bro code number 1. Bro must never bro. You gotta make sure you don't bro, man, bro.
Basically.
Right
on the head. Brad nailed it perfectly.
Yeah. Pretty much. That was absolutely accurate. But
Bro walks by with his shirt off, you need to compliment him.
Right. Yeah, that was one of them.
Like that.
Yeah, it's so dumb. But Jace and Austin, they feel on the outside right now, so they end up going to James, and look who's up there, Audrey. And so James, Audrey, Jace, and Austin form this fake alliance. Austin and Jace think it's real, but Audrey and James know it's fake.
Right.
And Audrey proposes this idea to them, again, this is just fake, to backdoor Jason. Yep. So that plan is out there now. And then there's also a point on Wednesday's episode where we got one of our first fights of the season, where Devon was trying to count things in the house in order to get ready for future challenges, and Jeff and Clay were really suspicious of her just walking around. So what ends up happening is that Jeff, Clay, and Shelly are like talking, and they're like, "Should I just follow her in? Like, what's happening?" Like, we should just go investigate. Oh, just get some hair gel. All right. And then they go, and Jeff begins to go in, and Devon sees him about to come in, and like she leaves, but then Jeff double takes, and he says to her what are you doing? And Devon's like, I can walk around here. This is my house too. And then that ends up becoming a problem. So Jeff and Devon, that was a small thing that happened, but then it became really Clay versus Devon, because Clay went up there to kind of figure out what was wrong with Devon, and they started this really just the dumbest fight on the face of the planet.
I didn't understand it.
What I got out of it was that she felt like Clay and Jeff and Shelly purposely were going to try to follow her in to see what she was doing. They didn't trust her, and Devon felt like they can't trust her, and that hurt her feelings. That's what I got out of it. And so Clay leaves, and Devon starts crying, and then so Audrey's just yes, Audrey is involved in this. This is foreshadowing. Audrey ends up just being you know what? Let me go talk to Clay. So Clay goes down. So Audrey goes down, and Clay goes to Clay and is like, "Look, Devon's crying. You really need to just patch things up with her because she's in our alliance. We have to, help her out. Just be nice to her." So Clay goes up and apologizes to Devon, and they seem to mend things. And then Clay leaves, and Devon's just "Oh hell no." Devon's just Audrey definitely told Clay to come up here and apologize. He doesn't believe he doesn't believe a single thing that he's saying, and Audrey is just trying to manipulate me, and she's going off completely, just not liking anything.
Ridiculous.
It was a really dumb fight, which I was really disappointed they showed that and not what I saw in the live feeds. I'll bring that up because that will be a small segment that I do called live feed things that you didn't see on the show. So we get to the veto now. So the veto players are James, Steve, Jackie, Becky, John, and Jason. That's the head of household, 2 nominees, and 3 random people. And it's one of the most infamous challenges on Big Brother, where you must find the letters and try to spell a word. And this year's theme is that you're digging for gold inside giant nostrils.
Oh, I get it now.
You didn't get it at first.
I didn't get it. I might have like subconsciously got it, but
You did. It didn't hit you at first. I think you're just like, oh, I don't know.
like, oh, it was just kind of like a, oh, that makes sense moment.
Yeah. But I love these challenges because you get to really see the stupidity with people. This time, no one got a single word.
Everyone spelled their word correctly.
It was the first in BB history.
What was the dumb word that someone spelled last year?
Kaltaurus.
Kalturus, yeah.
Kaltaurus or something like that. There's also Technotronics. That's like the famous one. There's one time that a person didn't spell anything. So that was interesting. That was BB15 actually. So you saw that.
Yeah.
That was the guy that got evicted first. Like the
David.
Yeah. Wow, you remember his name?
Surfer dude.
Oh, I would have never remembered his name. Because he was the first one out.
I did. I don't even know if David is his name.
It just seems like it could be. So the winner of this challenge ends up being Steve with his word.
Trombonists.
Oh, Go Cubs immediately enjoyed that.
It was so great.
And it was like it really was awesome because like you got to see like not only is Steve just a massive like nerd for Big Brother, but he's also a massive music nerd. You get to see like this other personality to him. He's a trombone player. He is representing Go Cubs' species.
Yep. He's my people.
He like he said, and Steve said like, oh, this is my favorite type of people.
Yep.
So I'm very happy for Steve. I'm glad that he gets to take himself on the block, and they can now enact this backdoor Jace motion. Now let's talk about Audrey, because she ends up going nuts at night, grabbing people out of their beds and bringing them upstairs into the HOH room at 4 o'clock in the morning, and making this 8 to 10 person alliance very similar to Devin.
Yep.
And like Jason said it best, he's just like, yeah, okay, you do you, Audrey, whatever, man. I don't know what you're doing. This is like we've now completely lost control. Audrey's in charge now. So Audrey just goes fucking nuts and goes up these people.
We all know how much Devin was liked.
Yeah, he was the best.
My least favorite contestant from last season.
He was fan favorite, man. Definitely. 10 out of 10. So now, and really, like, Jason, or James was just kind of like, I don't know if I can really trust Audrey because she's going absolutely nuts. I might have to put her up. And that was kind of like Big Brother's way of saying, hey, Jace is the obvious target, but we're going to edit in something to make it seem like he's having a tough time deciding.
Yeah, basically.
So then the results of the veto ceremony end up being that Jace goes up on the block, and it's Jackie. Jace is pissed, and he's trying to rally up these votes. My favorite part of last night's episode, or Thursday's episode with Jace, was when he first was talking about him getting nominated, and he was like, this is worse than Y2K. But that itself didn't make me laugh. The fact that they brought up the hashtag things worse than Y2K made me die in my seat. Like, it made me laugh so hard that it was just like, they had to have some sort of excuse to use a hashtag. They had to do things worse than Y2K.
Yep.
It was fantastic. So Jace goes campaigning all around the house, and then once again, Audrey comes in, and she, like, sees him on the outside trying to campaign, and Audrey's just like, you know what? Let me tell you, we knew from the beginning that you were going to be backdoored, so you better shut your mouth. And Jace was just like, no, you're lying. You told James that you wanted him out wanted me out right before the fucking veto ceremony, so he nominated me. I know you're the reason why I'm leaving, which is not really true. Audrey's actually is telling the truth, but what Jace is right about, and Audrey's not. Audrey is saying that that Jace was behind the whole backdoor Jason thing.
Right. No,
but it was Audrey, and that was the first sign of people being like, "Wait a minute, Audrey, what the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
And it was just absolutely insane. I don't know at all why Audrey had the need to tell him anything, and why she's completely trying to lie about the whole backdoor Jason thing. Like, I mean, I get you want to cover your ass, but there's so many witnesses to that was like, right. It's not even. You could have just said that was like a fake thing that you made up, and then everyone can move on. Like, it's dumb. And then on the eviction, Jace is evicted 12-1. So goodbye, Mr. Jace. There he is in the flesh. And so long. But he's evicted 12-1 with Audrey, of all people, giving him the sole vote.
Don't know
why. What I can say is that, you know what? We'll talk about it in a little bit, because it has something to do with like the live feeds. Yeah. So the next BB takeover is by Kathy Griffin. I love Kathy Griffin. She's
awesome.
She's insane, but I love her.
She was insane about last season.
She was insane about last season, yeah. So her twist that she's bringing to the game is that she's going to call the house, and people are going to pick up, and I don't know what's going to happen on the phone call, but I guess they're just going to talk and then hang up. There's going to be 7 different calls. When the 7th call happens, whoever picks up will gain the power to, I think, nullify or force people to not vote in the eviction.
Yeah, you get to choose 3 people, and they can't vote.
They can't vote at all. So that means that instead of 12 votes this week, it would be 9.
That's not very many for this early in the game, if you couldn't tell that.
Pretty much. And so I thought it was a nice twist. It didn't like completely like fuck with the game, because a lot of the times the house votes with each other. But I do like that the twist is it still can affect the game in some way, and it's not horrible either. So I like this twist. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
And then the head of household happened, and Shelly wins head of household, and of all people, the person that has not even like barely been involved is Becky.
Yep.
And she won head of household too. So now we will predict what happens this week. But first, let's talk about the live feeds, because there's some things that I would like to talk about. First, there was a massive Audrey fallout with everyone. There was, I'm hoping that they show it on Sunday, but this past week what happened was that people started catching on to Audrey, spreading rumors, and just being, like, just not playing the game right, just being not trustworthy whatsoever. It's saying things to one person and saying something completely opposite to another. One of the main things that happened was that there was rumors going around about Vanessa, saying that Vanessa has been controlling the game, which Vanessa really hasn't had any say in the game so far.
She's not been doing much.
She's my pick to win, yay. But
well, she could do more later on.
Absolutely.
It is the start of the game.
Yeah.
You can't really judge anyone by what they're doing the first week.
Pretty much, but Audrey has just been playing way too hard, way too fast, and people are starting to notice that. So then her entire alliance basically confronts her, with like Devon spearheading like the revolution against her, and basically called her out on all her bullshit, and Audrey pretty much has no allies in the house anymore. So that, just in case you didn't know, that happened, and that's partly why she voted against Jackie. She voted for Jace, and what she's gonna do is try to pin it on Austin, Liz, or Steve, or whoever was with him.
Person that voted.
Yeah, and I forget what the term was. I think it was like hinky vote or something like that. but Audrey's pretty much against the house right now, and like people still like her as like a friend, but anytime she talks games, everyone was just it's just like LOL, nope, get the fuck out. So that's a major thing that's gonna probably be a topic on Sunday. They already finished with like the nominations to Battle of Block as we speak, so like they finished it like this morning, so they'll probably
I have no idea what the hell is going on.
Yeah. No, yeah. Well, they are, which means that like they only have like 12 hours of footage, so I would think that they would have to include like the big fight that happened.
Yeah, that's true.
On the Sunday episode. So there you go. So that's to fill you guys in on something that you could tune in for. I didn't want to go too much in detail, but I'll just say that Audrey's pretty much fucked. So one of the other things that was really interesting this week was that Jace was really trying really hard, as you saw in the Thursday episode, really trying hard to get back into the game, but no one showed this. I don't want to say a fight, but it was more like a standoff between Jace and Steve. So what happened was that Jace brought Steve into the room, and Jace like looked at him with like cold eyes, and he was just like, I know that you knew that I was being backdoored. I knew that I'm so hurt. I'm disappointed. You should feel like a bad person, Steve. And he basically is just like, do you want to be a pussy in this game, Steve? And Steve is just kind of like looking at him. It's just kind of nodding like yes or no, and like he's not really giving much answers. And Steve was pretty strong throughout the whole thing. I'll give him credit. Like he wasn't like he never actually like fought with him or anything like that. He was pretty calm throughout. But Jace was just like he was mean. He was just like, do you want to be a pussy this entire game? You should feel bad about yourself. I hope you go home. Like if you go home next week, I hope you look back at this and I hope you feel bad about it. And it was like, I don't even think that Steve knew you were being backdoor. I thought he just thought he was a pawn. It was so bad, and it was just like, holy crap. And it made that
get allies that way either.
Right, exactly. So Jace very well deserved to be evicted. Definitely didn't like him, especially after that. There were times when I was watching live feeds, like, I do feel a little bit bad because a part of the reason why he's leaving is because of Audrey's mess. But when I see him acting like that,
he's still not a great competitor.
He's not a good person either.
No.
When it comes to playing, when you're especially in the game, when you're like, oh, I'm gonna make you feel bad for your actions. No, don't do that. That was bad. So, yeah. So Jace is a dick, and glad to see him gone. And then one last thing that happened was that there was the house guests decided to do a Big Brother prom for the live feeders. I don't know if they'll ever show it. Because sometimes they do something and then like 3 weeks later they show it on the actual TV show. It's just like, wait a minute, this is like so long ago. There was one time that like in week 4, like 2 people went on they staged like a little date, and then it was like the 3rd to last week they showed it, and I was just like, what? Wait a minute, half the people involved in this date was not even there anymore. It was like Big Brother, when they edit things, like they want to include things, but it ends up being pushed so far back. It's just like, okay, whatever, Big Brother, you do you.
Remember when Amanda and McCrae got married?
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. Okay. So the BB prom happened, and people did it like a makeover for Steve, and I can either edit in I probably get edit in the image right here, but he was smoking. He was smoking. He was hot Steve. So I showed it to Gocubs. Gocubs, can you please reiterate what you said to me?
I need an adult.
No, that's not what you said.
Oh,
you said I need to take a shower.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my god, Gocubs. It was.
Respond one of those two.
Either I need to take a shower or I need an adult. He was too hot, man. I even posted an image on Twitter of Hot Steve, and it was Steve on fire.
Yeah.
Literally.
What they were going for.
Literally on fire. So I guess it's now time to do our little predictions. So bye bye, Jace. I will close out of you now. Your face is taking up the podcast. All right.
What you say?
So let's begin with nominations. You can go ahead and start first.
Okay, so what I predicted was Becky would nominate Davon and Austin.
All right. So Davon and Austin. Okie dokie. Go ahead.
Shelly would nominate Jackie and Jason.
So Shelly would nominate. I don't have Jackie or Jeff's face in here yet.
Well, that's a problem.
That is a problem. Well, there you go. I got Jackie on the screen somehow. Jackie and Jason. So that's the predictions for that. I believe that Becky, if I can find Becky's face.
Wait, should I say
Becky.
the rest of it or just the nominations?
Just the nominations. We'll go back and forth for the per section. So that Becky will be nominating Steve and Jason, in my opinion, and then Shelly will nominate John and I said Jackie as well, right? There's Jackie. There you go. And then for the veto, I think. Oh no, I'm sorry. So then I believe that Shelly will be overthrown, and you said Becky, right?
I said Becky would be overthrown. Yes.
Okay. Now for the veto, I believe. Yes. So for the veto, who do you think would win the veto?
All right. I said that John would participate based on random draw. And he would win usage to save Jackie because of her boobs.
Boobs.
As Grace put it. Audrey would get nominated after that and go home.
Alright, so then Audrey would be in and out. Once again, backdoored. So I also believe that Audrey would be backdoored. But I think that if Shelly is, or I'm sorry, yeah, if Shelly is overthrown, Jason and Steve are on the block. I think Jason's gonna end up winning the veto somehow. He'll take himself off, and and Becky will gladly put up Audrey and back BD her, and then that will be the end of the week. Now, who do you think will get the secret power? Go Cubs! I know that was one for prediction.
I never said who.
You could just really say a random name.
But I'm going to say that Austin will get it.
Austin, that's a good one. So I said I don't know why, but because of him constantly like pacing around, I said Steve, because Steve would just somehow stumble upon the phone on the 7th go. So there you go. That's why I think. So it's gonna be a very interesting week of Big Brother, and I won't spoil anything, but things are definitely getting interesting in the house. Any last things that you'd like to say, Go Cubs?
Right now I'm breeding Pokemon, and I almost have 200 of the same one.
God damn.
I need help.
What Pokemon?
Rotom.
I have no idea who Rotom is.
It looks like a washing machine.
Fantastic. Okay. Do you want to play us out with the theme song?
Yes.
And we'll see you guys next time.
So long.
Bye-bye.